And we here again, Frankly Football. I am your humble co-host, Brandon, and I got my main man with me.
Hey, man, I'm setting off Chris, man. Just a happy journey with my main man here on Franklin Football, man. Spending some time on a Friday night talking about our Cowboys.
Yes, sir. We coming in again, talking for the last bits about our offense with this win against Atlanta in week 2, before we move on to Seattle. And I'm not going to lie to you, a lot of this is going to be about my quarterback. After this win, I want you to sign my quarterback. He should be walking away with a blank check.
Well, in a salary cap era, we can't do that, but we do need to pay him according to his play and how he's performed and how he's matured. And I think what we're going to talk about a lot in our video is how we've continued to watch the progression and maturity of Dak Prescott.
Absolutely. I think that this was a situation that most quarterbacks would have folded. We mentioned this a little bit off camera. Most quarterbacks down 20 would have their head hung low. They would just go out there trying to survive. Not Dak Prescott, not the Dallas Cowboys. He never once, I think, doubted himself that they would be able to come back and win this game. And you saw that a lot by him taking things into his own hands, calling his own number for 3 scores, but then also coming up and getting 450 yards from the air. You know, you'll see guys like your Josh Allen, Cam Newton in his prime, who would have a spectacular day through the run, but then they may have 180 yards through the air, maybe 150, something like that. You never see a guy come up with 450 and still with 3 rushing touchdowns.
Well, it's never been done. It's never been done in NFL history until last Sunday. It had never happened before. So, we're not, expounding or, pontificating as if we found we're pulling something abstract through the air. This is what happened. But what I also realize is that he understands his maturity. He understands, one, I have the tools around me to be able to make things happen. I have the tools around me that I can get back in this game. And if we stop hurting ourselves, we can do whatever we want to against this team. I think the biggest thing that helped a lot of people, you and I included, is that when they had the terrible first quarter, they came down and they scored. Then they came back down and they scored again. And then when they got to the end of the half, they scored again to make you say, we're not that far. I mean, every time they scored and the way they did it and how quickly and easily they did it, he was like, you know what, we're just hurting ourselves. And once they stopped hurting themselves, Rain was able to put his stamp on this game like never before. And I think we're going to look at that as a couple of different plays that shows how he's just matured from who he was in 2016 as a quote-unquote game manager, bus driver, needing Ezekiel Elliott to win, and every quarterback needs help to win, to now being to the point of, if this isn't working, I can leave from this point to bring the other portion back. Because there may be some nights or some games where the run just isn't working. The pass is where we need to go to. We saw that last year against Minnesota. And when he was shred Minnesota, and the whole world was like, oh, it's Dak Prescott's team. It's no longer Ezekiel Elliott's team. No, he needed Zeke to be a presence. But he also knew, hey, I need to take the forefront in this point to get us to the victory. And I think that's what we saw against Atlanta this week.
Absolutely, man. And I want to kind of touch on what you said, the progression of fans' confidence throughout the game. Because at the end of the day, even though we talk this, we upload this content for the people to hear, at the end of the day, you and I are fans. At the end of the first quarter, I texted you and I said, man, I will defend the Cowboys no matter what. I will point out the positive, but I need them to give me something to defend.
Yeah, they did. At the end of the first quarter of this game, they left you little to nothing to hold on to. You were sitting there. You were doubting everything's going on. They looked flat. We'd said that before with the old regime. They came out and they made mistakes. We said that looks like a team not prepared, like the old regime. And so we were like, are we getting, was Jason Crutcher, were we on punked as Cowboy fans? Were we getting punked on national TV that looks like the same identical team? So now, at the end of the first quarter, I said, well, what can we look forward to? I said, well, you know, outside of the miscues, Rain looks pretty good. He was like, yeah, I can hold on to that. And he just continued to do it until the end of the game.
Absolutely. And like you said, with the first score onward, it gave the fans a little bit more confidence that we can do this. And by the end of the first half, coming into the second half, it was a complete transformation. And that's one thing that I really have to applaud the coaching staff on, is they adjusted in order to come back.
They did what? They did what, bro?
It's unheard of, right? Is that word in the Cowboy fans' dictionary?
Right, you go into halftime and you make adjustments and you come out and you're not the same team you were in the first half. There is so much of Jiffy popcorn, I want it now mentality in football in this day and age, because I can get my gratification instantaneously from either punching on Twitter or putting something in the microwave or clicking the app, that we miss the fact that it takes a process to get where we want to get to. I think we talked about it in the video before, and if you haven't had an opportunity to take a look at our video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button, and look at what we talked about before, that to make this thing called the 2019-2020 Dallas Cowboys, you got to build it up and progress. You don't want to look like playoff form in September. You want to look like playoff form in October. You want November, December. That's what you want. And that's what we're trying to work towards in every aspect. But I think this offense it's like just getting to the starting motion of what it can be, because I think it can be really, really special. But let's talk about these plays with Dak, man.
Absolutely. I think Dak is the star of the show in this video. The star of the show.
NFC Offensive Player of the Week. I think he's the star, my friend.
Absolutely. So I just picked over a few videos. This one is going to be less film heavy than the defensive video, because I wanted to really display emotion about how I feel about Dak's win. Really talk about the feelings. But we do have film to digest. Let's not get that misunderstood. And I chose to go over his good moments because there were plenty of them. So all of the plays are coming from the second half, but this first one is coming from the third quarter, very early in the third quarter. There's 13 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. So barely a minute in.
Okay.
And you're going to see Dak's maturity level as a quarterback is something that I highlight from this play. But let's go ahead and run the play, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so here we have 3rd and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I said, 13 minutes left on the clock. Well, almost 14, really.
Mm-hmm.
All right, technical difficulties. I'm producing on the fly. Come here, break.
You're doing your thing. You good. You good.
Hey.
You had it. You got it.
There we go. As you notice, there's flags on the field.
Mm. Okay, I remember this play. I've seen a couple of people break this down, but what he did was he had already saw something inside the defense because he changed the play at the offensive line.
Yes,
but
sir.
Then he knew in the past where I'm going to be a one half of the field, or I'm going to lock in on this guy, right? On a 3rd and 7, he says, I'm going to go ahead and gash the defense and use the weapons around him. Caught CeeDee Lamb in stride between the linebacker and the safety and gave him opportunity to make a run. And I think that's his progression of what he's been able to see. I think every year he's gotten a little bit better. Every year he's gotten a little bit better. I think he's had his biggest jump from last year to this year with the aid of his quarterback coach in the summertime, but also with John Kidner helping him last year, and then also continued working with a proven quarterback coach in Nussmeier. Nussmeier's a quarterback guru and whisperer. So I think he's just continuing to get better. He's continuing to get coached and led in the right direction to where he needs to go to. But a great play, and just using his moxie, his moxie to be able to make a great play.
Absolutely. And the main thing that I like here, Dak had enough awareness to know I've got a free play here. So I'm going to send everyone down the field and we'll go ahead and let this rock out while I'm talking. He sent everyone down the field on that. Just go. And he had enough awareness to know, hey, if this ball gets caught, we get more yards. If this ball gets intercepted, doesn't matter. If this ball flies to the ground, it does not matter moving up the field one way or the other. And that's
beautiful
what
throw.
I mean when I talk about, absolutely amazing throw. When you talk about a quarterback, you want someone who's going to be aware of these things, and that's going to put your offense in position to succeed. Because
absolutely.
It is playing with house money. That's what that play is. It plays with house money. And I got to applaud CeeDee Lamb for getting in between coverages as well. That's what you want in your receiver in the slot.
Yeah,
that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's just understanding being a great route, put the ball and being a nuanced route runner, and ranges put the ball on him. Put the ball
exactly
right on
where it needed to be.
And go. Yeah, absolutely.
He put the ball exactly where it needed to be. And it's the type of stuff what I talk about, man. I think Dak Prescott, for real, might be one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in the league right now. Top 2.
No, I don't think he's top 2. I think he is the most disrespected quarterback in the NFL. I think he's been that way since 2016 when he came in, because everybody talks about all the other intangibles that every quarterback needs. He's got a great offensive line. Well, every team needs a good offensive line if you got a quarterback. Well, he's got a top tier running back. That's not their fault that the Cowboys drafted Ezekiel Elliott. He was the 4th pick in the draft. He deserved to be picked there. He belongs to being the Dallas Cowboy, and we paid him, so he's going to be out for a long, long time. Well, he's always had a great wide receiver core. We
2018 begs to differ. 2018 begs to differ.
2016 begs to differ. Okay, because I thought you had a decent wide receiver, but he's no longer in the NFL. Well, you know what? Let's be totally honest. 2016 to 2020, his 3 starter top wide receivers and tight end, are they in the NFL?
Let's see.
Are they still playing?
Des Bryant obviously isn't on the team. Jason Witten is, riding up to the pasture.
He's exactly what he should have been at last year, on the bench with a young stud, young lion doing his thing. Shout outs to Blake Jarwin, who could have had that same kind of year that Waller's having right now, had he been given the opportunity to play. And Terrence Williams, wasn't even in the league.
Absolutely.
So he had pieces. He had names. See, I think it's a difference between having names and having legitimate weapons.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I think now you have a bevy of weapons around you with an aging offensive line, which kind of brings him back to the of the same difficulties that most quarterbacks have. We talked about it time and time again. There are only 3 elite quarterbacks in the NFL. No more, no less. Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. They are 3 trucks. Everyone else are trailers. They need certain pieces to make it and win and be special. And Dak is in that second tier right below that. But those guys have pieces.
Here's the thing, though. It's nothing wrong with being the 7th or 8th best quarterback in the league. Some teams will be hard pressed to have a guy in the top 10. And when we say, hey, Dak Prescott is pretty good, he does everything you need to win. We're not saying that Dak Prescott is better than Pat Mahomes. That's never something that we point out.
But isn't it crazy that whenever we talk about him, we don't compare him to Kirk Cousins. We don't compare him to Phillip Rivers. We don't compare him to Derek Carr. We don't do that, right? We compare him to Tom Brady. We compare him to Aaron Rodgers. We compare him to all-time great Hall of Fame quarterbacks instead of guys who's contemporary, and they are his contemporary peers, but he needs to play like them to get any respect and recognition. He has to do all that. And that's what makes his ability for him to close out the all the noise and to turn around and continue to progress, that now he's in his 5th year and he's starting to walk into his prime. And that pass
Absolutely.
right there shows he's starting to get into his prime. Even though he's had, a different offensive coordinator the last 2 years, he's starting to kind of get into it. What's up with the next one?
All right, so this next play is still deep in the game. This is the third quarter. 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock.
Okay.
And this is I think Amari Cooper's biggest play of the game. This ended up going for almost 60 yards. I think that if he, just like he says, if he would have been healthy, this would have been taken to the house.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna pull it up, let it run, and then I want to talk about it. So you're gonna see a very tight formation. Look at Amari fly, man. Look at Amari fly. That's the one thing that I want to talk about. If his foot weren't a constant problem, and you notice Dak took a hit there, but got the ball deep down the field. I think that ball traveled at least 50 yards through the air. If Amari's foot weren't a constant problem for him, you would have a touchdown with him maybe weekly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without question.
So what do you see from, anyone on this play, anyone that you want to talk about in particular? What do you see?
What I see is, above all, him knowing and having the awareness to say, you know what, for me to complete it, which is a big play, and I can complete it, I'm going to have to take a shot. Somebody's going to have to touch me because I don't think my offensive line is going to hold up long enough. But when I do let it go, I put it where he's the only one that's going to be able to get it. And it's just a smart play on an offsides penalty. Hey, let's go find. Let's see if we can get somebody open. Let's see if we can get a big play and go from there. Because that half a second of hesitation of realize you jumped off sides is enough for anybody to make a mistake. And he made him pay, but he paid for it as well because he took a huge hit on this play. Absolutely. And let it go.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I like about it. You see Dak Prescott's toughness. He displayed zero fear in taking that hit. That comes
no fear whatsoever. No
comes
fear
with the territory of being a big body guy.
That's right.
Dak Prescott obviously is no. He doesn't have your what's the word I'm looking for? Your model body. He's sizey. He's sizey.
He's a thick dude, man. He's a thick dude that can take the punishment and do what he needs to do to be great. So it was a great play, great throw, great catch by Amari.
Hey, Chris, I ain't gonna call no another man thick, but
Hey man, he's a thick dude, man. He one biscuit away from being a linebacker.
Hey,
big boy.
There we go. I can agree with you there.
Gotcha.
But you see Dak's tenacity to see a man running toward him full speed, a 250-pound man, and saying, "Okay, take this and come get me."
Right.
And then you also see Amari Cooper slicing his way through the coverage. He saw that the first defender didn't stick on him, cuts in through the safety, and heads it on up.
Yeah,
you have a healthy Amari Cooper. That's a touchdown.
Oh yeah, without question. But it also goes back to the core of great players he has around him, that he's willing to take that shot to a guy he knows is hurting, and he still tries to take it anyway. And the guy doesn't fail, doesn't let him down. He goes and gets makes the play.
Absolutely. Hey man, let's talk about my quarterback in play action. This is when I love Dak Prescott, when he can roll out, fake handoff, and then do his work. Dak Prescott in play action is a marvel. It's a work of art.
Yeah, yeah. He's got his magician's card when it comes to hiding the ball, pulling it out, doing his thing. He does a great job in play action.
Absolutely. And I think that's where he found a lot of his success. Because Zeke had a pretty good day, and we still see the new and improved shifty Zeke throughout this game.
Yes,
but
sir.
Also power, because he made a guy go into fetal position for their first touchdown.
He's looking like game 4 or 5 of the season, Zach. Zeke right now coming into the season, which is a great benefit to have if you're a Cowboys. Great benefit to have.
Absolutely. So this last play that I wanted to cover, this is my personal favorite play of the game, even though it didn't count.
Okay.
This
I already
play,
know what this is.
This right here. Oh man. Not only did it feature a guy that I have renewed faith in, and your fifth wide receiver, Noah Brown.
Okay.
But it showed Dak Prescott doing everything that his detractors say that he can't do.
Right.
You see him put the ball in between tight coverages, surgical almost.
Yeah, watch. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the biggest things I had about him. He's got to get better with hitting guys on the move, which he's done. He's got to get better at throwing in tight spaces and dealing with those kind of quarters, because that's, part of his job. But let's see what he did on this.
Absolutely. So this is going to be in the fourth quarter, very late in the game, because it was just before the 2-minute warning. And this is about 2 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock. So we're going to run this, and then we're going to talk about it. And I get excited about this play every time we see it. Every single time I see it. In between two defenders.
Yes, sir. Right in the window.
Absolutely. And a very questionable blindside block, might I say. I'm not sure if I would have called that, but the letter of the law says that it's a penalty. Now, here's where you can really see how tight this coverage is.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and back that up and play it in slow motion.
Absolutely.
Here is where you get to see how tight this coverage is. This was threaded like a needle.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
Threaded like a needle between two defenders.
Yeah. Sawing.
And I'm going to keep running it back while we're talking.
Threaded.
It was a hand's length away. This is the things that Dak Prescott's detractors say that he cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
If not for, and once again, very questionable blindside block that we see from CD Lamb, you're going to see it coming up right here.
Hey, man, he just stopped right there.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't lean forward and just let the guy come and run him over, then nothing's called. But he probably gets in Noah Brown's way and he doesn't continue to run. So I thought it was a great play by Sedarian, but I thought it was even better throw by Dak.
Absolutely. And that play is kind of like a culmination of this game. This shows Dak fearless in the face of pressure, because his line wasn't what we would have expected it to be. You had two undrafted free agent, one rookie and one sophomore at your tackles. You had obviously from what us mere mortals would expect, the stress of having to come back, and in your rear view the first quarter.
Yeah.
But Dak does not flinch, does not look to the side. He looks straight forward and completes the pass.
Made great throws. Great throws. You just showed 3 plays where he threw great throws, catching these guys in stride, making the defense have to rally to it. And that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to get, when I let the ball go, I'm going to put it in my playmaker's hands, and I know they're not going to run 5 yards, fall down in slow motion like your boy did. But they're going to make plays and get the ball on the field. And that's exactly what they did.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this video, much less detailed about the full offense, but this is more like a Dak appreciation video. Because
Absolutely.
when you see things where people say that this is the thing on Twitter that's been going on today, that Dak has never really won a shootout. Well, what was this? Was this not a shootout since he had to come back from a hole? He wasn't carried by his defense. Personally, I don't think that he was carried by his running back. This was Dak Prescott carrying this back.
Yeah, it was.
It's not his fault that Matt Ryan blew his load early.
Right. Right. I mean, it was just to the point that it was a point where the team needed their leader to mount up whatever moxie he had and get them to believe. And as they continued to work, they scored, they kicked the field goal, and they got the second touchdown. They knew that they could come back and win. They needed to have certain things touched up, but their side of the ball they had handled. And that's an amazing character trait to have, and he has it.
Absolutely. And I'm just hoping to see him build upon this, and the whole team really build upon this win, because, you know, even though I don't fear them, I'm able to recognize that Seattle ain't no slouch.
Well, I mean, you know, this could be the springboard to something great. But I think
That's
the springboard that has to start with and believe in Dak Prescott, and you believe he's gonna get you the ball. You'll run those routes hard. You'll be able to get done when you need to get done, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm totally excited about this thing in Seattle.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think that's about it, man. We've gushed about our quarterback enough. If you haven't already, like this video, leave a comment. You know, I love seeing, you know, whether it's good, bad, in between.
Yep.
And subscribe to the channel, man. That's how we are able to know that we're giving the good content. Maybe not something that you agree with, but we're giving that premium level content that you come here for.
Without question, man. The time that me and Brandon talk and sit down, we're trying to dive into this thing, man, and we just want you to continue to grow with us, man. We hit one of our goals, man, getting over 100 subscribers, and then our next goal before the end of the year, man, is get to 1,000. So
that's right.
All I'm saying is, hey, take time. If you like what we say, give us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. If you don't, then throw it in the chat, throw it in the comments, and we'll get back to you and see if, you know, we can work it out, or you can help change our mind. But the one thing you can't change about us is our love for the Dallas Cowboys and the love for this football team. So, man, I'm setting it off, Chris, man.
And I'm Brandon. This has been Frankly Football. Peace.
Peace.